What does it mean, compounding effect of toxins? It's how much of it are you exposed to every single day. So you know that if you have a glass and you put there just one drop of water, it doesn't mean anything. But during the day, you are collecting all these drops. And at the end of the day, you might have a full glass and it can actually spill over, and then it has the effect. So when you, for example, when you are at the petrol station and you are taking the petrol, you are inhaling the petrol, this benzene, and it's already damaging your nose and it's coming into the body, and it acts on the neurons in your brain. So what can you do? Maybe you can turn your head away. Maybe you can use a mask. What about passive smoking? Um, Active smoking is with every puff, you inhale 4,000 different chemicals. But with passive smoking, you inhale 1/4 of that. So stay away from these people that smoke around you. You also don't want to, for example, run or do any exercise like cycling around a busy town, busy road, because in that moment, you are pumping quite a lot of blood and you are inhaling even more. So you inhale all these toxic emissions and the pollution. Maybe you have at home printing ink or paint, or you are not using organic cleaning products. Because if you look at everything, when you are cleaning the toilet and you don't use vinegar and baking soda the traditional way, all of that you inhale. And again, it's causing neurotoxicity, radiation and electromagnetic frequencies. So even when you say, oh, my mobile phone is on airplane mode, I use it as a wake up alarm, or I have there some application that are watching my heart rate and a sleep monitor and all of this, you are still exposed to the electromagnetic field. What about some plugs, TV or other devices? Just remove it all from your bedroom. We already covered the agriculture and why buying organic products, especially from the list of dirty dozen, is important. What about the cosmetics? If you are using mascara and nail polish and lipstick, Dior had so much cadmium in the lipstick, and other brands like Maybelline too, Johnson's and Johnson's, and you name it, Procter and Gamble. What about the toothpaste, for example? Nearly every toothpaste has sodium laurate, and that is causing inflammation, skin disease, rashes in the head. Check what your product has. Food cans. Yes, I do recommend buying sardines in the can, but even that is going to have some toxic metals that were leaching into the fat, because remember that fat cells are holding and storing all the toxins, and then you eat it and get stored anywhere in your body. We have fat in every cell, even in the brain. So especially when you open the can and the oxygen can enter inside, remove all the food. Don't leave corn in the can, putting it back into the fridge. Try to use and buy products in glass. For example, even milk, because milk is fatty, milk, yogurt, cheese. If it is in the plastic, these chemicals leach again into the fatty part, and then you are consuming it. So even if you buy organic milk, organic cheese, it's still going to have the toxins from the plastic. If you, for example, buy soup as a takeaway, this soup is in a plastic container that also had to be covered so that the soup is actually not leaching through that, and that's chemicals. Pizza, you know, that's not just a paper. You think it's just a paper. No, it always has the covering so that the fat and the water and the steam from that pizza doesn't damage the box. So it's things that we are not aware of. They're everywhere around us. Toys, cookware. If you use plastic, putting it into the microwave, Microwave on its own is not causing any trouble. It's the plastic that you are using to heat it. What you should definitely avoid is aluminium. And I see this, and I have to say that even I made many mistakes. So years ago, I would, for example, shave my underarm, and then I would spray it with antiperspirant, something like Rexona, which is high in aluminium. Why is it with aluminium? Because it's going to kill all that bacteria so that it doesn't create any smell. But as you shave, you make a micro cut, and this aluminium can immediately enter into the bloodstream and then cross the blood-brain barrier and cause neurotoxicity, Alzheimer, Parkinson's, head fog, headaches, migraines, and you would not be even able to connect these symptoms with the aluminium. The same, for example, with the bialetti. So I like preparing this traditional coffee, and I always had the aluminium bialetti machine at home. So now I changed it for the stainless steel. Um, as much as I love George Clooney, I wouldn't have the Nespresso with him. Why? Because again, this is aluminium capsules, and as it makes the holes and the hot water is running through that, the aluminium is leaching into the water and then you drink it. That's not what you want. Many times I see my clients, for example, grilling or making cakes on these aluminum plates. So again, when you put hot product on the aluminum, it's going to get into the food. I made mistakes many years ago when I grilled the chicken in the oven and I pulled it out of the oven. I covered it with the aluminum foil to kind of keep the juices in it. I didn't know that the chicken that was roasting on 200 degrees, when I cover it with the aluminum, is going to leach all the heavy metals into the meat and then we eat it. So of course, nowadays I don't do it at all. But this is the lack of knowledge why we do it. The same goes, for example, for Teflon. So it is polyfluorotetraethylene coating. And of course, as you are heating pancakes or whatever you eat, this chemical is leaching into that and you swallow it, you eat it, and cause a massive burden on your liver, on your gut, and your kidneys. So if you could avoid this, I would be very happy for you. What else can you reduce? Cooking at the high temperature. And I know that it's not possible to bake a cake on less than 120 degrees Celsius. It needs at least 150. That's what every recipe says. But you know, when you buy in a bakery bread that is really like brown on the top, on when you are toasting the bread, why does it taste better? Because all that sugar was caramelized. Caramelized onion, roasted beetroot, roasted parsnip, all that sugar came up and it created carcinogenic acrylamides, which are neurotoxic, so killing the brain cells. So French fries, like from McDonald's, probably the worst thing. It's even the combination of fat and sugar. Biscuits, toasted bread, roasted vegetable, all of this is basically carcinogenic and toxins. So we should be preferably boiling and steaming. If I want you to take something out of this video, it's please don't buy puffed rice cakes or vasa bread, anything that was exposed to the extrusion, right? Because would you be able to prepare breakfast cereal like puffed quinoa and puffed rice at home? Well, in the microwave, try it. It doesn't work. In the oven, it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Because you need to expose it to a high pressure and 1000 degrees Celsius so that it puffs. So what do you think that happens if it's exposed to this temperature? So everything good that was in there is killed, completely killed. It has no nutritional value, and all that sugar was brought up. So that is very, very high in glycemic index. So it's going to spike the insulin, the fat maker, and it's going to store the fat on your belly. And that's not what you want. So you might be thinking it's like a diety rice cakes and diety quinoa puffs, but it's not. The next one is barbecue. I know it tastes great because this blackened part, again, the meat, the sugar, the glucose in the blood of a beefsteak was brought up and connected with the oil. And with the smoking point, it just turned it into the sweetness and 17 other heterocyclic amines that are increasing the metabolites of estrogen and causing the cancer, ovarian cancer, breast cancer, but of course even prostate cancer and any other cancer. What about 80-20 rule? So I understand that everybody likes barbecue. So if you need to barbecue the meat, what about having fresh salad with it, high in antioxidants, so that you can catch all these free radicals and remove it away from the body? And the rest of the time, you will be steaming and boiling your potatoes, your starchy vegetable. And if you need to bake, the research showed that you can lower the acrylamide, the carcinogenic, by 60% if you are using the sodium bicarbonate, which is baking soda. So not the baking powder, but the baking soda. What else can you avoid? You definitely want to avoid large fish. And why? Because we already said they live in the polluted ocean for 20, 50 years, and in their fat, they're storing all the toxins. So it's swordfish, tuna, marlin, shark. Here we concentrate mostly on tuna because many of my clients are buying tuna, making tuna salad, thinking it's healthy. It is not. You want to use sardines, small fish, or maybe mackerel, organic shrimps. That's what is good for you. And you definitely want to avoid farmed fish because this farmed fish is living in a small pond. And in this pond, all the feces that they are leaving there, they eat again. All the bacteria that are living in these tanks are also producing toxins. And what the farmers do, they want you to like it, and they have a scale. You can use whatever color you want. So just before they are going to kill the fish, they will feed it with beta carotene and sometimes even just synthetics to make it pinkish. And how do you know if the fish is good or not? Every time when you're in the supermarket, look how much fat it actually has stored in here. So this picture is showing you, okay, it's not that fatty. Yeah, I have seen worse. But remember, toxins are always stored in the fat. So you don't want to buy so fatty fish, and definitely not the farm fish. Even if it's from Norway, even if it's from Scotland, it is still farmed fish. You want to buy wild caught salmon, for example, from Alaska. Yeah, that would be the better choice. What about oils, the choice of oils? So maybe it happened to you that you forgot pan with oil on the cooker and you saw how it's smoking. So when it starts to smoke, it turns into carcinogenic load. Olive oil, butter, it burns very quickly. and then it's not good for you. So when you are using olive oil or butter, it's only for sauteing or for very low temperature that definitely doesn't go over 180 degrees. If you are frying something on a high temperature, you are, or the shops are, and restaurants are using hydrogenated mixture of vegetable oils. So what it means, hydrogenated, it means that hydrogen molecules were introduced into the fat, but you know that it doesn't mix together. So they had to expose it to very high pressure to change the molecular structure of the oils so that it actually doesn't get oxidized and doesn't get rancid. And like this, they improved the smoking point. But is that natural? Doesn't seem to me. So you want to avoid that. And preferably use ghee, butter, and olive oil, but on low temperature. You also want to avoid inorganic beef and chicken because it's treated with antibiotics. It's treated and fed with these pellets from the modified crop that come from China and from Southern America, like Brazil. So even though your farmer says, oh, my cattle is not treated with this and that, it was in the crop that he bought in a cheaper way, right? So even a Swiss farmer can do this and is doing it. Dairy products. Dairy is high in hormones, obviously, and also antibiotics. So you would want to buy it in organic quality. And soya products, I already mentioned, is very high in cadmium. And cadmium is causing the thyroid issues, and also the brain fog and neurotoxicity. Hydrogenated oils are in all vegan products. So check the labels. And if you read their hydrogenated oil, you probably don't want to buy it. Refined sugars and sweeteners. So why sweeteners? It is used, for example, by diabetic people because they have to control their insulin levels. So saccharin is basically synthetic version of a sugar. It tastes like sugar, but our body doesn't detect it, and therefore it cannot spike the insulin and change the blood glucose levels. But then it goes to our liver, and the liver says, well, I also don't recognize this molecule. It is not native to us. I need to store it somewhere because I don't know how to break it down. Then it will store it either in the liver or any other tissue in our body. So that's why we want to avoid the sweeteners. And mycotoxins. Very often when you buy organic product, it's not going to have any preservatives in it and chemicals and synthetic food. So it turns bad very, very quickly. Even, for example, bread, within 2 days, you might not even spot it, but it has white white dots on it, and that's the mycotoxins. Or with the jam, if you have, for example, blueberry jam, you can see it very easily that you bought it, you store it in the fridge, and then you open it in 3 or 4 days, and there is a mold on the top of it. So the worst thing would be to remove the mold and eat the rest of the product, because this is like iceberg. You just see the top of the mycosis on the top, but it's absolutely everywhere. You need to throw away the full jar. It's toxic. Synthetic supplements. So you might be thinking, oh, I'm taking these super duper multivitamins. I bought them in a shop, like a supermarket. That's toxic because it's synthetic. And again, our body doesn't recognize what that is. It might take some of it, but the rest will be putting the burden on your kidneys and on your liver. Peanuts and dry fruit, they have toxins. They have toxins as well. And then, of course, alcohol, because alcohol is a toxin. And we know that the liver needs to break it down. So 80-20 rule, decide when are you going to drink alcohol, and maybe before you drink the alcohol you want to eat avocado or have 2 spoons of olive oil to actually protect your stomach and avoid toxicity. How can you detoxify? So now we are coming to the practical way. So first of all is flushing the toxins out. How do you flush it out? By drinking water or herbal tea that supports the detoxification. So remember, for every kilo of your body weight, you need 40 milliliters of water. So if you have, for example, 60 kilos, you need 2.4 liters of water. If you are exercising, running, and if it's too hot and you are sweating, you need maybe 3 liters of water. So if you have higher weight, it can be even 4 liters of water that you need per day. And if you don't drink enough, your kidneys cannot filter all the toxins away, and it's stored in there. It's not good for you. Probiotic food. So here you have to be a little bit careful. In case you are suffering with bloating, farting, and other gastrointestinal issues, the chances are that you have bacterial overgrowth. And if you are starting to take the probiotic food or even probiotics from the pharmacy, you can feed the bad bacteria. So first you would need to kill the bacteria, for example, by eating for 2 weeks raw garlic or having the supplements from the oregano or olive leaves. And only then you can support the new bacteria by the probiotic food. And probiotic food is everything that was fermented. So fermented cabbage, sauerkraut, kimchi, which is the Vietnamese version with spices in it, fermented milk, kefir, yogurt with lactobacillus, fermented drinks like kombucha or water kefir might be good as well, but just occasionally because there is still sugar in it. Fermented cheese like feta can be good too. You would want to preferably drink beetroot juice with lemon. It can lower the blood pressure, and if you are toxic, it might cause headache because you are flushing all the toxins away. To support the detoxification, you also want to eat a brassica vegetable, organic quality. So what's brassica? It's a vegetable that is high in sulfur, because sulfur helps the detoxification. Broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, kale, Brussels sprouts. All these vegetables will be fantastic eating every single day. You can also support the detoxification by using the spices such as turmeric or eating dandelion. You can find the dandelion leaves in your garden or in the mountains preferably, because the garden with herbicides might not be the best choice. Or you can buy a dandelion tea that helps to support the bile secretion, and bile is breaking down all the fat and helping to remove the toxins away. So bile is important. So garlic and onion is fantastic for detoxification. Eating eggs. Remember, you can eat 2 eggs per day or even 4 when it comes to that. Eggs are not dangerous. They're high in choline, which is good for acetylcholine, but also they are high in cysteine. And cysteine is an amino acid that is needed in the methylation cycle in the liver, phase 1 and phase 2. The same goes for sesame seeds like tahini. It's also high in cysteine, this amino acid, so that can be perfect choice for vegans. And eat organic apples, because 1 apple a day will keep the doctor away. Apples are very high in quercetin, which is very good prebiotic food. So helping you to grow the healthy microbiota in your gut that in return are helping to remove all the toxins. Green leafy vegetable. You want to eat at least 4 handfuls of green leafy vegetable and add there even some fish and fish oil. So fish oil I love to buy from Lambert's, that's a British company. Fish oil with coenzyme Q10, because it also supports the mitochondria, the energy centers. And feta cheese, because feta cheese is also high in cysteine, the amino acid, and it's fermented product. So here are just some ideas of what your menu could look like. And you see that all the products that I mentioned, so take it as an inspiration. And what have you learned today? So you learned what are toxins, and the toxins are absolutely everywhere. They have a cumulative effect, and that's why we need to detoxify every single day. So every single day, eating all the items that are helping the detoxification. We need to support the organs that are helping in the detoxification, which is liver, kidneys, and the gut, because it has impact on our health. And we have seen what were the signs and symptoms. So what can you do today? Consistency is the key. You maybe want to increase the soluble and insoluble fiber. So it's just basically eating fruit and vegetable, because the fiber is going to catch and hold all the toxins and help you to eliminate it away. And you are then not going to be even constipated. Eat 2 eggs per day, and you can mix them into your protein pancakes. You can make frittata. You can bake the cake with eggs, because they're high in cysteine, and that's what we want. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Calculate how much of liquid do you need for your body weight, and then stick to it. Avoid processed food, because we know that it's full of toxins that do not serve us. And maybe check the cosmetics and cleaning products that you are using and switch to the organic version.